Florence Kenyon Hayden Rector, or Kenyon Hayden Rector as she often referred to herself, was one of Ohio's pioneer architects and part of that first generation of women practicing architecture in the late 19th, early 20th century. She was one of 3 women who were enrolled at the Ohio State University School of Architecture in 1901, and that was shortly after the program was established.
There were a lot of women artists. There weren't as many women architects because a lot of people really didn't think women could do the engineering or understand the complexity of building and structures and actually to get something built. So I think all of those things, she clearly was talented. She never finished architecture school. She never had a degree, and yet she had enough ability to actually design buildings and see them built.
Well, Oxley Hall, originally known as the Women's Dormitory, this was Kenyon Hayden Rector's first major commission, and she was only 24 years old.
She was recommended by Joseph Bradford, who was the university architect at the time, who was familiar with her work.
She submitted plans. The Board of Trustees approved her preliminary plans, but they stipulated that she should work with a male architect. And that was Wilbur T. Mills, who is most famously known as the architect of the Columbus Main Library on Grant Street.
Basically, it was a marriage of convenience. It wasn't something that she wanted or felt that she needed.
As she recalls in an interview later in her life, she had become very frustrated working with Mills on finishing up some plans. And actually, her day books support this information. She often had to meet with the Board of Trustees or the building committee by herself because Mills was out of town or Mills was not available or not present. And then on June 30th, 1907, her day book entry is, "Spent all day correcting Mills' specs." The next day's entry says, "Fight with Mills."
In the morning.
Work on this
We've got to
tonight.
do this in the
No,
morning.
we need to do it tonight. But what should I do tonight?
Think about it.
At the end of the entry, it just says, "Dead."
She was frustrated by having that supervision and the idea that she couldn't design this building on her own. And at one point, she actually locked Mills out of her office so she could continue to work and get the design done.
Miss Hayden.
I think it says to me that she didn't just settle, she could do it better than the men.
I'm impressed by a woman of that age, at that period of time, being able to design a building at Ohio State.
So the plans were approved in August of 1907. The building opened in 1908 and was the first residence hall for women on the OSU campus. I think she'd easily still be a role model today. She made history happen. She broke down barriers in a male-dominated profession of architecture, and she was very passionate about a number of early 20th century reform issues. So, what a woman!